Hi,
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
thank you.
Good to see you.
Hello,
Hello. We have
Rebecca,
our friends
Sarah.
from
Sure.
Turkey. Hello, Chloe.
Yes.
We have our friends from Argentina. I saw San Filippo. We have our friends from, oh, I see a lot of friends from Hyderabad.
Yeah.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. I see some friends from Armenia
Yes.
and France.
Yes.
Yay!
Is
Welcome.
my camera visible?
Uh,
I don't know
Hi,
who said
Sarah.
that.
This is from India.
hello,
Yeah.
welcome. Good to
Thank
see you
you.
all this. Well,
Hi,
good
Hey,
everyone.
morning for me. It
I
is.
actually will have to be stepping in and out of the meeting, but I have a student here representing our school. I
Amazing.
actually have to go and take care of our bees today. So
Oh,
International Bee Day was on
Hi.
Tuesday, so
yeah.
be happy.
Good
One.
evening.
Hello, Soma. All right.
Hi,
Yeah.
Stephen. How are you? He left.
So as we're logging in, it's great to
So
see
good to
everyone.
see you.
As we're
Yeah.
logging in, we'd love for you. You'll see on, if you go over to the tab where it has all the pictures of people on the side there, you can see that my name is Sarah, Canada. So
Yeah.
what we're doing is we're renaming ourselves for the name we want to be called in the meeting, because people will be talking to each other and we want to know we all have a name that we want to be called, and then a comma and your country. Now, what you do to change is you go up to your picture, you find yourself either in the participant list or in the pictures, you click the three dots and then you hit rename. Again, so that's the name we want to be called by. So if it's a school that we're in, we could go by the teacher or by the name of the school. We could go by our name, whatever you'd like to be called if we call on you. Because that's how we see participants and hands raising. That's the name that'll come up for us. And then your country name. And if you don't know how to do it, no problem. We have a team of CGE people here on the meeting. Just type in the chat like, I don't know what I'm doing, and what you'd like to be called and your country, and we'll make sure that someone renames for you. So again, welcome everyone. We're going to give a few minutes. We still have a lot of people in the waiting room. They're hoping to join. There's a little bit of lag as their internets accept a big Zoom meeting like this. But we're so excited to have you join us today. Oh, Rebecca, we can't forget to do our cheer. Do we do it near the beginning or at the end? Or in the
I actually kind of love the idea of doing the cheer at the very beginning, like once everyone's in, before people have to hop off and go do their chemistry classes.
Yeah. Who would be doing that? Oh. All right, maybe. Well, we'll have this up for a little second as we wait for our last few people to come on up. Some friends from Colombia are logging in. So good to see everyone. Again, as we come in, we are renaming ourselves with the name we want to be called by and the country. So I see Amir here in Turkey has put his, Denise as well, Estefani in Costa Rica. So we know exactly who to call when if you raise your hand or you want to speak, and then the country you're joining from. And that's just so brilliant because then we see Colombia, Canada, Zambia, Costa Rica, France, Philippines, Armenia. We have so many amazing countries that we'll have to do a count right near the end to say how many people came to our meeting today from around the world. I know we got a note from our friends in Australia that they were not going to be able to join today because it is at 2 a.m. for them. And so we are giving them a pass today, but they said they're going to watch the recording. So to make sure to give them a shout out. So we are doing that. Hello, Australia at 2 a.m. your time.
Good morning, Australia.
Good morning. Wonderful. Okay, we are a few minutes in. We might start to get started. And I'll stop sharing so we can. Now, usually we do a sort of like a cheer at the end of the meeting to say like, hey, we were all here, we're gonna take a picture and it was so amazing. But we found last time that people had to log off and some people were missed and they're like, I'm not even there, can you cut me into the picture? And you know what's easier? Just taking a great old cheer at the beginning. Because isn't it wonderful that we're all here today on the International Day for Biodiversity to celebrate this program and that day and think about conservation and action and youth voice and all those yummy, juicy, awesome things. So, Rebecca, would you like to lead us with the instructions? I didn't know there was an Earth Sing.
There's an earth reaction? Oh, that's fun.
Hey, look at that.
didn't
He's
know that
teaching us
either.
things.
That's so
So Rebecca, I'm going to let you lead us in our instructions.
Awesome. So first, what I need is if you don't have your camera on yet, you need to get your camera turned on for our cheer. So I'll give you a second just to make sure you have it on. And the way the cheer works is we say 3, 2, 1, and then we all yell, hands up for habitat. And you need to put your hands up and you need to say the cheer so I can see you guys cheering. Okay, we're going to do a couple of them because I have lots and lots of you here in the meeting and I want to get as many of you guys in the picture as I can. Okay, so if you're alone in your room like I am, please still yell and cheer. It's very fun to do the full cheer out loud. So we're going to count 3, 2, 1, and we're all going to do it together. Is everybody ready? All right. So 3, 2, 1. Hands up. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, that was really good. We're going to do one more just to make sure we caught it. Okay, is everybody ready? 3, 2, 1. Hands up for habitat. Beautiful. That was wonderful. Oh, that's like a very exciting way to start our meeting. I'm so happy to be here for World Biodiversity Day with you guys all. Keep up the energy. Keep your cameras on because I like seeing their smiling faces. Actually, Sarah, before I pass it to you, I do want to say one more thing. We have a couple of volunteers working with us here at the center as interns over the summer, and they have come up with some good questions to put in the chat. So keep your chat open because you're going to see a few questions coming into the chat throughout the meeting so you guys can share a little bit about the biodiversity in your homes. So back to you, Sarah.
Awesome. And I think that, that would be a great way to start us off. So I'm going to do a welcome and a bit of an introduction. And as I'm talking and you're thinking and listening, maybe our first question, I think, Anish, it was, what is your favorite creature in your biome? So you'll see today that many of our speakers are sharing their favorite creatures in the biome. And I think it's always a fun way. But why don't you in the chat, so from your biome. So I know that I love peacocks, but they do not run around Canadian roads because it's a little too chilly over here. But I do love magpies and I do love white-tailed deer. And so those are some of my favorites. But so in a chat, why don't we start doing that? And I'm gonna share my screen here and welcome you all today. Oh, it clicked out. Look at that. Here we go. Welcome to International Day for Biological Diversity. Good morning, everyone. My name's Sarah, and I'm with the Center for Global Education, and I'm joining you from Amiskitchi, Wissahickon. It's a colonially known as Edmonton, Alberta, and that's the name of our territory here in Canada. Today, we're joining from classrooms, communities, cities, forests, coastlines, and cultures all over the world. Some of you are connecting from huge cities, some of you are connecting from rural areas, from small towns near oceans or mountains, deserts or forests. But wherever you are a part of our shared planet, and your voice matters. That's what this program is about celebrating your voice in biodiversity, the nature, the environment, conservation, and all those wonderful leadership ideas around how do we act in our local communities for nature. So an ENN, or EducationNatureNexus, is built on one powerful idea that global learning leads to local action. So we're learning from each other from across borders, across cultures, across languages, across experiences. And we're going to take that back and into our own communities and create real change. So you're not just students watching this for learning about what you might want to do in the future. You're students joining this meeting to learn about what you can do today, now, next week, in your schools, in your communities, in your homes, that'll make change to protect habitats, reduce waste, plant trees, create art, and speak with decision makers. Because that's what makes this movement so special, is that in your schools, in your neighborhoods, you can act on behalf of your rivers. You can act on behalf of your parks and your oceans and your forests to become part of something bigger. Biodiversity loss isn't just science. It's not just something that's happening that we can watch and see and catalog and count, but it affects all parts of your life, like food. It affects your health. It affects your mental health. It affects your culture and your safety and the future of all of you on Earth. But we are here to help you give voice to those thoughts, to those hopes, to those actions, so that you can change the future. And often we hear from students like yourselves that the people who are making decisions are the ones who are not going to be impacted in the long term. And so that's why your voice is so powerful and so critical in this conversation, is that you have both the experience of being a youth in the world today and what that means for social media, what that means for education, what that means for your ideas about future jobs and what the earth is going to look like. And people who are making decisions need to hear that, need to understand that. And so we are here to help you help bring a space for you to learn and talk to each other, because that's one of the most brilliant parts about being a student, is that you can hear from someone who's just like you, but maybe in Zambia, or maybe in Peru, or maybe in France, and learn from those stories to get a better understanding of how all of you together are making an impact. So today is the beginning of another year of learning. This is our third year of the ENN program, though we've been doing Decarbonize. I know a lot of you know of Decarbonize as well for many, many years before that, but we're so excited to see around biological diversity what your collaboration, your conversations, your writing, your art what you will bring to this, and what we will all create together. So welcome to another amazing year of Education Nature Nexus, everyone. Woo! And I didn't change any slides while I was talking. You're welcome. So today we have an exciting program. We have friends from WWF joining us. We have friends from IUCN, which is the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, join us. We have friends from UNEP, the United Nations Environment Program, joining us. We have friends from UNSCBD, the UN Conservation for Biological Diversity group coming. We have friends from youth friends who are taking amazing action in their communities and working together, that want to share their stories with you. And we have, of course, our friends from Armenia who are joining us to welcome us to their country, their city this year for COP17. So we're going to dive right in. Again, ENN, who are we? Where are we? Look at all these smiling faces. We together, we are an amazing group of students and teachers and advocates who are trying to look at biological diversity and how we approach changing the face of biodiversity loss. And so we have participating schools from all over the world. And if you look in our participants list here, I'm going to do a little quick scroll, but I see that there's 113, someone in the waiting room, 114 people from Canada, Argentina, India, Philippines. We have friends from lots of friends from India, Peru, Romania, France, Turkey. As you go through that list there, you can see how many people. Sometimes when we take action in our schools, in our communities, we can feel like we are alone, or that someone might say, why bother? But you can look at this list and see, this is why, because we are all coming together, and every action matters, no matter where you are in the world. All these stories matter. And to help sort of talk about that, we have our friend Nathan Spies joining us from WWF Global. And he is based in Austria. And he's joining us today. And his favorite, I can't remember, is it a Waltrop? What was the name?
That's the German word, is the Waldrapp, but in
Oh.
English it would be the northern bald ibis. And it just looks funky, right? Looks like it had a really bad hair day, but it's just like always got a bad hair day, or a really cool hair day, actually. So
It kind of looks like a peacock, though. I gotta
right?
say.
It's got a little bit of that going too. We love the ibis.
Amazing.
Yeah,
All right.
that's right.
I'm going to stop sharing so that we can see you and you can join us. And I don't know if you
Awesome.
want to share.
I'm not going to share anything. I'm just going to share
Awesome.
some words. But I really, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me, and also just like everybody who's on here. There's 114 participants. This is awesome. And what you heard already from Sarah was that we're all about to embark on an exciting journey. And it's a super important journey because together we're going to connect with people from all over the world, but also with this life-giving planet that we have, we call Earth, right? So together we're going to learn about, yeah, how important nature and biodiversity is. This word biodiversity, it just means that there's a lot of different life. It's plants, it's animals, it's all this stuff. But as Sarah said, it's more than just like things. It's like it also really affects our lives. And the cool thing is that we're going to be working together to protect it in order to protect, and by protecting it, by protecting the earth and biodiversity, it's also protecting us, our families, our friends, our communities, and the globe, because we're all connected. And that's what the thing that's so exciting is. So imagine that if you haven't done something like this before, you're probably curious and wondering what's going to happen. I can imagine that you might also be asking yourself, all right, but is this actually going to really make a difference? And I'll come back to that in just a minute. But let me just shortly just introduce myself. So as Sarah mentioned, my name's Nathan. I live in Austria, which is nestled between Germany and Italy and Switzerland and Czech Republic, and there's a couple other countries in there. And I live in the mountains, which I love. And that's part of my passion. I just love being outside. In fact, I'm sitting outside right now. I wish if I turned off my background, you'd see that my backyard's here. And I can see the trees like glimmering with the light shining on them. And I can see a butterfly flying. I can hear the birds chirping if I took off my headphones, and the pollen that's like sprinkling out. And it's just like biodiversity and nature is all around us. It's so amazing. And I mean, I guess if you would just like go outside, that you'd also see that in different ways, obviously, depending on where you are. But that's really what I love to do. I love to be outside. I love to like connect. I love to sit next to a river. I love to like hike in the mountains with my dog and my wife. And that's what I love to do. And that's who I am. But I also work for this panda, whichever side it's on there. The logo is the panda, and that's the Worldwide Fund for Nature. And we're a very large environmental and nature protection organization. And I have the privilege of being the global education and engagement coordinator. So I get to work with different types of people from all around the world, from Peru all the way to the Philippines, up to Sweden, all the way down to South Africa, and everything in between. And through that, I also get to work with amazing people like you. You know, and sometimes people ask me, so wait, how did you actually get to this spot? And I've actually got to go a little bit back in time. I'm not going to tell you how far back in time, but I'm going to say that when I was a kid, my nickname was Nature Boy. My nickname was Nature Boy because I was that kid who was always out there digging in the dirt. I was building forts in the woods. I was just like looking for salamanders under rocks. And I remember that even as a kid, I was like super fascinated by nature. I would love like snakes and lizards and turtles and birds and insects. Those were me, that for me, that was like the most exciting thing. And I remember, for example, watching baby praying mantises like emerging from their chrysalis. So that little place where like the mother laid the eggs, and then these praying mantises would come out. It was just like incredible. Or I remember watching lizards like totally watch a fly and then leap out and grab it, or change colors to match their backgrounds. I was absolutely fascinated by like the tiny little hummingbirds that would build these intricate nests, these tiny little nests, and have their babies in there. And then how they could hover and float by these flowers. It's just incredible. You know, and that wonder of nature continues to these days. But even at a young age, I was also keenly aware that there were also some problems in the world. I realized that there was pollution that was affecting our water, our drinking water, our air that we were breathing, the land where we had our food. And there were inequalities, that some people had a lot and other people were struggling just to survive. I realized that our climate was getting hotter, and that we are losing incredible plants and animal species every day. But I also realized very early on that we have to step up and we have to make a difference if we want to see things change. We can't wait for somebody else to fix it. In fact, what Gandhi said is that we can be the change that we want to see in the world. So as a kid, when I was like 10 years old, I would walk up and down the street and I would collect aluminum cans and I would collect glasses that people had thrown out on the ground. And I did it because I could also make a little bit of money from it. And then later, there's an interesting photo. That wasn't me.
Sure.
Later, I got a job up in the mountains of North Carolina as a camp counselor. And I was able to like connect kids with nature and the beauty of the mountains of North Carolina. That's where I was living. So we went camping, we went canoeing, we went rock climbing, and we were looking for animal signs up in the mountains. We were looking for bears and wolves and all kinds of critters. You know, and then later on, I went to university and I studied biology. And after I finished, I got an internship and then later a job with the government. And it was called the United States Environmental Protection Agency. And I started working in DC, like where the president is and stuff. And then I said, I don't want to be in DC. I want to get outside. So I got to move to Alaska. And it was in Alaska that I started working with Native American and Alaska Native communities. And it was super inspiring. It was there for me that I realized I had a lot more to learn than I could tell. And it was also at that point in time that I got deeper and deeper into environmental education and I started working with youth. And that really changed my life because what I learned from the young people in the program that they had created was that the adults were part of the journey and not the leaders, that we were in the boat together and that together we could learn and together we could take action. And that's where the learning happened. So I became passionate about this thing called youth empowerment. And so now fast forward a little bit, 6 years later, I moved from Alaska to Austria. I've met a woman and I left that place to come here. And a few years later, I met.
Oh, we have to make sure
I'm
we
taking
say-
Spanish, but I didn't understand that. So anyway, so I met people from WWF and I told them about these amazing young people in Alaska. And I said, hey, look, they are changing the world. They're really changing things. They're changing laws and they're changing things in their backyards. They're putting in pesticide bans and they're getting like incredible things happening for protecting their food. And I was able to convince WF Austria that we could start up a youth leadership program. And so I got to do that for 12 years. I was working with incredible young people from Austria and around Europe and around the world on various topics of biodiversity and climate protection. And when I finished, I passed that on to a young woman who'd been coming up through the program. So I felt really happy about that. So, and then I transitioned to the work that I'm doing now, which is the global education. And so, as I said, I get to work with amazing people from WWF, from around the world, but also I got to meet people that are not in WWF. And that was, for example, the connection with CGE. So my remembrance goes back to when I was going to the biodiversity conference in Colombia. This was in 2024. And I saw these young people with yellow shirts. And it wasn't just their yellow shirts that caught my eye, but was the things that they were saying and the people that they were talking with and the way that they were able to convey their messages. And it was so impressive. I said, we've got to work with those guys. You guys rock. And so together we started to build this. And so with Sarah and Rebecca and Rocio and all these other folks, I'm so excited to work together with you guys and we've already started that. So we started to put together some great resources that you can use in the classroom, your workbook on the action projects and some activities that you can do to connect you with nature and biodiversity, but also learn how to protect it and get active for nature. So no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing or how old I am, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but it's getting up there, I'm still fascinated by the beauty and the wonder of nature. And I see how more and more how important it is to our lives. And I see also the power of people to make a difference. So I'd like to end just with a very short story about a little girl about your age and a grumpy old man. It's called The Starfish Girl. So a while back, could have been a week ago, could have been a couple years ago, there was a young girl and she loved to go down to the ocean. She lived close to the beach and she would go down almost every day just to be there. And one day she noticed that the clouds were getting really dark and there was a storm coming in over the ocean. And so the waves were starting to get bigger and the wind was really strong and there was lightning and thunder and it went all night long. It was a big, big storm coming through. And in the morning when she went down to the beach, she saw that there was not just like maybe some trash and pieces of wood and all kinds of stuff, but there were thousands and thousands of starfish scattered across the beach. And she was like, but as it gets warmer, these starfish are going to die. It's going to get so hot that they're going to dry out. So you know what she did? She started walking down and she started picking up each starfish and she would throw it back into the ocean. And she would throw another one back in the ocean and she would pick up another one and throw it back in the ocean. Well, now down the beach, down the beach a little ways, there was this old man. He had been a fisherman his whole life. He'd seen a lot. His wrinkles on his face told of his history. And he watched as his little girl walked down the beach and she was picking up these things and throwing them in the ocean. He was like, what the heck is she doing? Why is she doing that? And as she got closer, he said, hey, little girl, come over here. And she kind of looked up at him and was like, okay, what does he want? And he said, what are you doing? And she says, well, see the storm, it washed all these starfish up on the beach. And as the sun's coming out, it's gonna cook them. They're gonna die. And he looked at her and he was like, yeah, but do you not see there's so many of them? Do you really think you're going to make a difference? And she stopped and she looked down, and between her feet, there was a starfish. It was beautiful. It was bright red. It was just a little one. And she reached down and she picked it up and she held it in her hand. And she thought for a moment and she threw it in the ocean. And she looked up at that old man, that old grumpy man, and she said, for that one, I made a difference. And she kept on going. You know, we can all be like that little girl, whether you're in the mountains or you're on the coast. If you're in a city or you're in the countryside, we can all make a difference. One starfish at a time, one step at a time, but we have to start. And this could be your start. This could be your start right now, or it can be another part of your journey. But I want to thank you guys all for the incredible things that you're going to do now and in the future to help protect and restore our planet, our lifeline for now and in the future.
Oh,
Thank you guys.
thanks so much, Nathan. That was a great, inspiring message. And I think that it's a great segue, I think, to our next speakers, who are youth who participated in our World Conservation Congress as a part of Education Nature Nexus last year. And they themselves were in the same spot as many of the kids who are online now, that this is maybe not the start of their journey, because obviously they were very passionate and taking action and they were selected to go to WCC, but that this is a part of their journey. So I am going to welcome our friends Maho and Willow and Mateo. Thank you all for joining us. And they each have, we messaged them to find out their favorite creatures and their biomes. And so we have what we'd call in Canada the capybara, and then a lynx, right, Willow? Is that a lynx? Looks lynxy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, an octopus for our friend Mateo. But if you guys, I think I'm sharing your slides, so you just tell me next slide and I will keep going. But welcome, introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi. Again, this is Mateo, Maho, and me, Willow. We're a team of 3 who had the honor of going to the World Conservation Congress in Abu Dhabi this past October. It was a huge, huge event, and we just want to share kind of 3 main takeaways that each of us had. But we're going to start with a short intro from each of us. So, Maho. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry. So my name is Majo Amor. I'm from Argentina, and I was also part of this experience, same as Willow. I'm so happy to be here as well. And Mateo.
Yeah, so I'm Mateo. I'm actually from Mexico, but I live in Canada now, in the west side of Canada. And yeah, this was a really cool experience, and I'm really excited to be here as well.
And I'm Willow, all the way from the east coast of Canada.
So, as you're going to find out very soon, this whole trip was incredible. But we really wanted to start things off by highlighting the things that we found most interesting or like most meaningful throughout these experiences. So, Sarah, feel free to.
Okay, so first slide's mine. I think a huge, huge takeaway that I had personally, one thing that was super, super meaningful to me was just how we were fully heard and fully taken seriously by all of the adults and the professionals who were there. So we're at the World Conservation Congress with all these people from huge NGOs, from global organizations. And I mean, you can see in this picture right here, I'm actually the top left. I'm talking to Dawn Carr, and she's from the Nature Conservancy of Canada. She's super high up in the levels of the Nature Conservancy of Canada. And we're just having a regular conversation, and she's super into what I was saying. And we were giving panels, we were giving presentations, and we were giving just short like meet on or elevator pitches and like stuff like that to everybody we met. And I don't think I was met with somebody who kind of treated me like a child per se, or negated kind of the messages that we were trying to send. And I think that was a huge part of what made this experience super meaningful for me.
All right. For me, I think the most meaningful part of this experience was being able to find and meet a like-minded community. So as Sarah was mentioning, it's really easy to feel like you're the only one who cares about conservation or nature in general in your community. But it is events like this that allow you to meet people who actually care and are trying to do their best to take care of nature in their home. And it's really inspiring because it just shows you that there are other people out there that actually do care and that you're not alone. So that picture right there is a picture of our team, or at least most about, yeah, I think most of us. And each one of us had a different story, came from a different place. But we all had one thing in common, and that was how much we cared for the environment.
Mhm.
And in my case, I think that one of the most meaningful things we had to do was that we actually got to represent the voice of so many children and youth from around the world. As Mateo said, we all had like our personal stories, things that brought us to be here in Abu Dhabi, at least back then. But actually, it's so amazing to think that we got to represent the ideas of, I think it was over 1,000 kids that answered like the survey, and we got to bring their ideas and put them together into like this project that we got to present to all these people that Willow just mentioned. And I mean, I don't think we realize, or we have like this grasp of how important it actually is to represent youth voices in this kind of places, because we actually have really important things to say. It's like a really different perspective. And the idea that we got to do that, it's amazing, and it's like an honor.
All right, so for the second thing, the second main takeaway that we want to focus on is we want to tell you guys kind of all about what we learned while we were there at the World Conservation Congress. So I'm going to start off. One huge thing that I learned, and it's very specific to myself, but also anybody who has aspirations to kind of be a scientist or a researcher when they grow up, is how much respect and how much sort of due process is given to scientific research and scientists themselves by these big governing bodies, or these big NGOs that are putting forth programs and kind of influencing environmental education or environmental action worldwide. So you can see in that picture, Mateo's idol, Sylvia Earle. She's a marine biologist, and we got to meet her there, and she was treated like a celebrity while she was there. This scientist who had done all this work in the field of marine biology, everybody wanted to talk to her. And then in the other picture, there's one of our youth peers. I think he's from America. We met him while we were there, and he was there. He had a whole pavilion to himself to give a presentation on a research project that he did concerning kind of like bringing back or promoting coral nesting sites. And that was just insane that they gave so much time to not only a youth member, but a scientist to present their research at this event. Jane Goodall also, I gotta put a plug in for her. She sadly passed away before, but everybody was really excited to meet her, and they even held a memoriam service for her because they idolized her as a researcher and a contributor to kind of like the scientific development of this field. And I think that's super meaningful to me, especially because I want to be a conservation researcher when I grow up. I want to be doing science, and it's good to know that scientists and researchers have a place in these big discussions, and they have a spotlight in these big discussions. So yeah, that was something really important that I learned while I was there.
Okay, it's my turn. So one of the things that I took away, one of my takeaways, was that you can really do anything that you set your mind to. At the conference, everyone was so approachable. Like even there's another picture of me with my idol, as Willow said, and she signed my book. I admired her since I was around 10, and I never thought I would be able to meet her, but there I was. And she was amazing. And anyway, everyone's really approachable. You know, I'm having different meetings in the other photos, and there's just so much opportunity to partake. You just have to look for it. That's what I took away. You can do whatever you want to, because there's so many approachable people and so many opportunities to partake in. You hear stories of people who worked incredibly hard to get to the places where you are, or where they are, but they were passionate, and that's what, you know, set them apart from everyone else. And that's why they just set a goal, and they worked hard for it, and they accomplished it. But they really didn't think they would make it there, and they did. So it's impressive how your mindset changes after you go to one of these experiences.
And on my end, I think that one of the most interesting things that I learned throughout this experience is that you or me or us as young people or as civilians, we can actually make a change in, say, the implementation of the SDGs or whatever. In this particular pictures, I think they all belong to the same day, kind of. At least two of them where I'm wearing blue. I got to interview this amazing organization, which is Stop Ecocide International, and get to know, I mean, what their objectives were, why they were here, what they had to offer, and then I wrote an article about that, which was amazing. Like, I get to do that. I got to talk to them, to these people, present myself as a young reporter, and tell them, hey, I really want to know what you think. And I promise I'm going to listen. And the most important part was that they listened back to me, them and other people who we got to talk to as well. And then, I mean, just in the picture below, where we got to meet Aguilar, Greta Aguilar, which was the general director of the IUCN, right? We got to speak to her, like, literally, not just take a fun picture, but also tell her about our program, and she was listening to us. And the most important thing is that we got to do something meaningful. Us, children, or well, rather youth, we were actually making a change, like bringing stuff up, and people were listening as well. So yeah, I think that one of the most important things I learned is that there are many projects or ways in which we as civilians get to actually do our part.
All right. So we basically wanted to stress why these experiences are worth it, and why you should join. So I will hand it off to Willow.
Sorry guys, technology. Yeah, so why you should join Education Nature Nexus. I have really two main takeaways on kind of the reasoning of why you should join this amazing initiative. First is you can be surrounded by an extremely supportive and extremely diverse community of people who are working towards the same goal. So like Mateo was saying, you get this huge community of people who are super excited and super hardworking, and who listen to you, like Maho was talking about. And that's really a really good environment to have when you're trying to start out and become a sort of activist yourself. And then the second part, which kind of works upon that, is it gives you examples. It gives you a network where you can see examples of feasible projects, action projects that you can do in your school or in your community. And that takes away a lot of the fear and anxiety that I know at least I faced when first starting out, like wanting to do a project but not wanting to do anything too big or being scared that it was too much to handle. I think seeing being in Abu Dhabi for one, but also being part of the Education Nature Nexus community really helped me to kind of let go of that fear and just start it. So I just wanted to show you guys a couple pictures from projects that I have done this year. So a couple of them with students, the top left, bottom left, and the top right. That's a project that I do in my community now that I was brave enough to start because of Education Nature Nexus, where I go to elementary schools and I give them sessions of kind of environmental education and stuff. And we even built an outdoor classroom, as you can see in the bottom left. And then the other two, the one in the top middle and the one in the bottom right, are just small other projects that I've done. So a small little beach cleanup in my community, and we made a green space in my guidance area. And these these are all things that I wouldn't have been able to do. I wouldn't have had the confidence to do if I hadn't had the community that Education Nature Nexus program kind of gave me. So yeah.
Yeah. From my perspective, these experiences give you a sense of excitement to get out there and just do stuff. Actually, the pictures you see here, one of me is obviously presenting at the conference itself, but the other two are from my most recent initiative, which I'm actually still working on. And this is basically, I actually stole this idea from Willow. I remember her telling me about it, and I was like, I want to do that. So actually, that's one of the ways that like this was so meaningful to me. You know, like I wouldn't have known that that was possible unless I met Willow at the conference and we talked about like our different projects and all that stuff. And so we're basically giving workshops to elementary school kids and teaching them why native plants matter. And at the end of the workshops, I think next week actually, we are going to make a native species garden at the front of our school, and we're just going to have native species from the region that we're from for everyone to look at and everyone to enjoy. And so these programs, they really do make a difference. They connect you with people who are like-minded, and they just get you out there and they get you excited about doing stuff. It doesn't feel like hard work. It feels like you're just having fun. So that's why I think it's so meaningful and why it's worth it for everyone to join.
And lastly, but I promise not the least, I have to say that the people you get to meet, they're like one of the things you really value most about the experience. It kind of follows along the lines of what Mateo and Widow were just talking about. And I know it's kind of like cliche to say, oh yeah, you get to meet so many different people. And I know, but I promise it goes so much deeper than that. I mean, on one hand, you've got all these amazing people within the rubric. We were mentioning some of them just today. And it's unbelievable to get to shake the hand of, say, the UN representative for oceans. It's amazing. Like, what am I doing here talking to you? You get to meet this amazing people who have outstanding ideas that they're willing to share with you. And I mean, you get the experience out of that. I mean, look at these pictures. I treasure these pictures. But on the other hand, the group that you make in this kind of experiences or activities, it really matters. Actually, I really hold you all close to my heart. I don't know if that's the right expression, but I really care about everyone that I got to meet. I mean, Widow and Mateo are right here. I was just talking to another friend called Bishwaja the other day because it was her birthday. You really make a connection. It's a really tight group. And not only do we talk about life because we're genuine friends, but we also get to talk about like all these different initiatives that I know some people are working on from around the world. And we get to work together, which is amazing. Like, how is it possible that I'm working alongside someone from, say, Peru, or maybe I don't know, India? It's outstanding that we get the opportunity to actually meet kids with our same interests and stay in touch because it matters. It's a different form of networking, but it's also important. So yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the end of our presentation.
Oh, again, technology. I was muted. Amazing. Thank you, everyone. Let's give our friends it was Mateo, that the story of you meeting Sylvia Earle and pulling your textbook out of your backpack so she can sign it is like, I tell it to people and I get teary and they're just like, Sarah, you're ridiculous. But it's just one of those moments where, you know, you met one of your heroes. And for her though, too, when she was saying is like, you know, she's retired, she should be retired. She's in her 90s, right? But for her to see youth who were coming up behind her, like she got that message that she wasn't alone either, right? That there are people who are behind her, who have heard her and are coming up to take the lead, to take the charge. And so it's this wonderful moment where it's not just you as youth contributing, like everyone there gets as much out of it as you do. And so it's just such a valuable, amazing experience for everyone involved. And now we've been talking a lot and we want you guys to have an opportunity to go into breakout rooms and share what you've heard, but also talk about what's going on in your schools and your communities, what you're passionate about, what you hope to see change. And I know that we sent some templates on like, how do you do this to your teachers? But if you don't have slides or you don't have a script, it's no problem. Just introduce yourself, talk about what you see in your community, what you're worried about in your community. And this is your time to share a little bit about who you are and who your friends are, who your school is, and the things that are important to you in your community. So we are going to open up some breakout rooms. Everyone has about a few minutes to share, but we're going to have teachers and CGE people in the rooms to make sure that it keeps going, that everyone gets a turn. We will have another breakout session at the end. So if you don't get a chance to go, don't worry. We're going to talk a bit, we'll have the breakout, talk a bit more, and then have another breakout. So we're good. We're going to get to it. But this is your chance to really introduce yourselves to each other and hear from schools around the world. We will have a Spanish room, and Rebecca's going to explain it all right now.
Yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rooms. I don't know if we'll need all 9. So what I want you guys to do is when I open the rooms, you'll see that each room is a different color. So you can send a text or you can type in the chat and you can say, hey, friends from the global school in Argentina, let's go to the orange room. And then you guys can all join in a room together with your friends, okay? So I'm gonna open them now. We'll give you guys a few minutes to get organized. I would like to ask, though, we do need 2 schools to stay behind. So, Sarah, do you have a thought about which 2 schools we want to keep in the main room?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Let's maybe keep one of our, if there's a school from Armenia that wants to stay, so we have that voice, and maybe some of our friends from Costa Rica. I see we have a lot of Costa Ricans and a lot of Turkish. So this allows you to a few different students to present in different rooms. So you don't all have to go with your school together. You could also like go a couple of students in each room so that you all get to tell your story to different people. So if we go and need more, we might call you back. So if you go into a room and all of a sudden you're back in this one, it's because we wanted more people to stay.
You will notice too, if you do not have strong English skills and you are a Spanish speaker, tu habla español, you may go to the Azul room. So the Azul room is para mi español speakers.
Amazing. And we will have a Spanish speaking teacher in there with you. Though Rebecca is doing very well in her Duolingo. So
I'm level 16, so pretty much fluent.
All right, so we'll open up those rooms. And if you need help going in, if you can't seem to find a room, just let us know here, either in the chat or you can unmute right now, and we'll put you into some rooms. We'll help make it diverse.
Looks like everyone is hopping over.
Wonderful. And if you're a teacher and you're in a room, make sure everyone's introducing themselves and taking turns. We are all about maximizing that. Have so much fun.
Right. And as they are getting sorted into their rooms, do we have a volunteer from Costa Rica that would like to share a little bit about your action project first to get us going? So we can get someone kind of set up and ready to present in the next couple minutes here. Okay, and while they're thinking, I'm just taking a look at the rooms. It looks like white and yellow. If you need a room, you can choose white or yellow. It looks like they need a few more friends. Red is a good choice.
And also, if Majo and Mateo and Willow want to stay and also be part of one of the breakout rooms, that would be amazing, right? They could moderate one of those too.
All right, I'm going to start assigning people to rooms here.
Okay. Me too.
I'll start at the bottom if you want to start.
Okay, I'll start at the top. Okay, and do we have someone in the room here that wants to tell us a little bit about an action project they're working on? Oh, Lucia, did you guys prepare slides for this one, or would you just like to speak a little bit about what you're working on?
Okay, hi. I'm Lucia, I'm from Costa Rica. I'm at the Humanístico Costarricense Campus Nicoya, and I'm gonna talk about a little bit from a project in my school is Meliponari. Okay, Meliponari is a small area for conservation the Mariola bees. Mariola bees are single bees, and they are in danger of extinction. So we have that small projects, and in these areas we have small houses to take care of them, and we have different type of plants with flowers, so they can pollination them, and that. I don't know if someone have a question about the bees or something.
It's amazing. It sounds like a cool project. I actually just watched your video on the Padlet, I think it was, the other day about the project on these bees. I think it's so awesome. So many people grow up thinking that bees are like mean or bad or something. And it's so wonderful to hear someone talk about how much they love bees. So I think it's awesome. Does anybody have questions about the bee project?
Hi, Rocio, how are you? It is
Hello.
from Turkey.
Heh. Tane konuşabiliyor musun? Çekiyor mu? Tane
Ros-
is driving. Ne?
Rocio, hi. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
I do have a question about the bee project, Lucia.
Yeah, we are here for the first time for bee project. We prepared the Calma presentation, but this week, next week is going to our one of our religious holidays. So I'm on the road. I'm driving, so I cannot look at the camera. But we will be happy to be a part of this project as well. So if you have a project plan or something like that, can you send me via email or another with WhatsApp? I'll be appreciated.
Hey, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Tane. We're just going to finish up with this student project, but we are happy to send you an email on what the next steps are. So thank you very much for joining us. So Lucia, I have a question for you. My question is, what was the biggest challenge in completing this project? Was it finding money? Was it getting volunteers? Was it building? What was the hardest thing that you guys had to do?
Okay, that's a good question. To finding money, I think is not the most complicated thing. I think the most complicated is like to find a space special to take care of them, and more like we can build the houses, but we need like a substance to attract them to the houses. So if the substance don't function, it's probably we can't have the bees in the house. So it's probably the most problem I can find.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think space is a big issue for a lot of our schools. So I could see a lot of them having that. Awesome. And so your bee project, what grade are you in?
What you can repeat, please?
How old are you? What grade are you in?
I'm in 11th grade. I am
One more year.
6th.
One more year of school after this? Or two more years of school? How many more years of school do you have?
In Costa Rica, we have like the normal schools is 11th grade and
yeah. Oh, so you're done?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that gives me another question. What is your plan after you guys leave your school? What happens to your bees?
Okay. By the way, well, no, like the Meliponari is in the school like in 2021. So it's a project that is passed for the next generations of the school.
Amazing. That's very cool. I mean, your school is such a special place. I feel like the students there are very action driven, so it might not be too hard to keep it going. That's so great. Awesome. Thank you very much. Anyone else from this Costa Rica team have anything else they want to share about your project?
Well, we are having a project in progress that we would like to share. That it's called Eco Threats. And so, Randy, you can talk about that.
Yes, I will talk about EcoTreat. That it's a project that focuses on producing treat from recycling plastic, and the plastics that we will use, is the like PET or PE from the plastic bags or also plastic bottles, and these plastics are collected on at high school, and the plastic waste generated by students, teachers, and also the people that that are around from the university. We gathered the plastic, and after we processed the plastic to create the treat, and this recycled treat can be used for I don't know, to be transformed into materials from the school or students, and also like items for the high school, and even I don't know, like creative projects that we can do, or also like handmade, etc. And also in this way the project promotes the recycling, and also want to reduce pollution, and want to encourage the responsible reuse of the everyday materials. But also something important to mention is that these projects that we mentioned before are not the only ones that we have at high school. We have others such as the garden. Also, we have composting, and even project that is it's about biodegradable bags, that also is known as jelly bags, and
Cool.
we have these projects.
This is very cool. The idea of plastic pollution or reducing plastic pollution is one that I think a lot of students are quite passionate about. So it's very cool to hear that you guys are working on that. That's awesome. Juan Pablo?
Also, and I think it's important to mention that this year we have like a lot of new projects such as Eco Threads, and also some of my classmates are making like a biological inventory and with cameras here in the Universidad Nacional in Nicoya, Costa Rica. There's like a little forest where there are some cameras to like count the animals, the plants, and these people are making a very, very good job collecting this information and making an inventory to know which species are like in this area of Guanacaste.
That is so cool. That reminds me. So I'm just putting a link in the chat right now to iNaturalist. So I don't know if your school has used it before, but it's a really cool way that you can actually log the species that you see and share them with other community scientists around the world. So I highly suggest you add some of those species in here as a way to kind of put them on the map. And actual biological scientists use this community data from iNaturalist to try to help with their population studies. So it could be a really cool way to get connected to some real change. So that sounds awesome. I cannot believe the number of things your school is doing. It's insane. You guys are like 5 schools in one. It's so awesome. So congrats on all the hard work.
Yeah, it will be very good, and thank you. So well, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I think up next, my friend Saruda, I believe you have some slides that you'd like to share as well. Would like to talk a little bit about some of the work happening in India, which I've actually already seen a couple of similar ideas from both of these schools. So you guys might be able to share in some successes and challenges together.
Yes, sure. Hello, I'm just gonna present my screen. 1 second.
Great.
I hope my screen's visible.
Looks good.
Yes, sure. So, hello everyone. I am Sashida PDD and I currently live in Hyderabad, India, which is in the southern part. You can see it even in the image in the side as well. So, I'm 14 years old and I have also gone to the COP, which is related to the climate COP last year in Brazil as well. So, these are my experiences and something that I've been facing as a citizen of my country related to biodiversity as well. So, mainly about India and my city is that our culture is mainly deeply connected with people, traditions, and nature as well. So, like, even from the smallest festivals that happen in very small villages to the big cities, and the food that is present in the community as well, mainly the community that is living here in our country also has a lot of respect for the environment and biodiversity, which is the daily part of our life in most of the rural towns as well, where there's lots of greenery that you can see coming from farming as well, considering we have lots of rice and wheat that we eat, which is one of the most staple food in our country. So there's a lot of farming as well as the biodiversity part going on as well. Whereas Hyderabad, my city where I live, is a blend of heritage, greenery, and also modern living. So as you can see in the image that I've given here, there's some greenery like trees as well, but this photo is in the city center where it's one of the tech hub where you can see lots of major companies like Google and Microsoft as well. So this shows how our city has the culture and nature growing together. And next, coming to the biodiversity highlight. So Hyderabad lies in the Deccan Plateau biome, which mainly consists of the tropical dry deciduous and the scrub ecosystems as well, coming if even on the technical terms. Mainly what you can see is that it has a very rocky Deccan landscape. So when you go to the outskirts, there are lots of rocks and plateaus that you can see, as well as there are lots of lakes and wetlands, which of course now have been polluted. A lot of them, most of them have been polluted now. But previously, if you go back to a few years, like few decades ago, you can see that they were the main sources of water here in the city as well. We also have the botanical garden. So the picture towards your left side is the botanical garden, the greenery that you can find in our city, which is one of the most popular tourist attractions as well, and where most of the schools also take children during the younger ages as well. There's also rivers, watersheds, and grasslands as well in my city. Now, the threats to ecosystem. When you know that when we have a urban city, there's obviously the downsides to it. So with urbanization, there's also a habitat loss where due to the rapid construction, road expansion, and lots of lakes and rock formations are getting reduced. So like you've heard in India, due to the into the cities where there are seas, the sea levels have been rising and the lands, the water is coming towards the lands where there are a lot of buildings which are getting submerged. So when you come to the dry part of India, the southern India, and something like Hyderabad, which is a landlocked city, does not have any seas or oceans. It just relies on lakes, which are now polluted as well due to a cause of urbanization. And there's also pollution and waste when there's a lot of people, as well as people when you are not aware of how to keep the city or the place clean as well. That leads to a lot of plastic and waste pollution. To the right, you can see a very polluted river, which is one of the rivers in Hyderabad, which is very polluted and not taken care of the way it was before. And now, how you can help. So, some of the things that I am doing right now. So, I've tied up with lots of local NGOs in my city, which you can do in your city as well from anywhere around the world, where we do lake cleaning. So, I partake in the lake cleaning projects where I've cleaned around 2 lakes till now. And I can see the real change in front of me, which is why I enforce you guys also to suggest to also do the lake cleaning and tree plantation as well. So what I usually do is that once the lake cleaning is done, we also do tree plantation here. So you can join the local lake cleaning bodies and give them a chance to breathe as well. Because once the lakes are clean, you can also observe the atmosphere difference in your place as well. And next, some student action project plans that you guys can take part in your school as well, if you're interested and there's these kind of issues as well in your country or in your city. First is the mini garden spaces, a small area, even in the classrooms, we just take a tiny corner and you take some favorite plants. So if you have a favorite plant, you can also, you and your friends can together get some favorite plants and so get them together in the classrooms or in your school or in your local community as well where you live, and take care of it to support pollinators and the local biodiversity, so that you and the plants and the biodiversity can have a chance to breathe as well as live like how you would expect yourself to be living like a proper person. Next is the post action. What you can do after taking a lot of action, like passion projects, or even going to such conferences like WCC. Like we heard some of the people who've gone there as well. We've heard their stories right before. So something like that. What you can still continue to do, as we've heard the speakers before say that they've continued their action even after going to such conferences. Even how I'm doing the lake cleaning, you can continue as well. Even other than your school or your community, you can start by doing awareness projects like biodiversity awareness, or like supporting lake and habitat conservation. You can impact the people around you to do more change like you did. And next is also another idea, which is installing bird feeders and water stations during summer to support urban wildlife, because right now in the urban cities there's a lot of climate change happening, which increases the temperatures drastically during summer season. So if you're currently experiencing summer, try to install some bird feeders with little foods, nuts, etc. Or even have water. Take one water bottle and install it so that birds can also get some food and water to live in such areas. As most of the cities or like even rural areas, there's lots of loss of habitat, which means that the birds do not get to live, or even the animals don't get to live properly. So you can do your small part in it as well. And something that I like to say is that real change begins when people stop waiting for others to act and they choose to speak up and take their first step themselves. So that's what I want all of you to do as well here. Take up the first step and start speaking. Do not wait for someone else to do so, because you might be the someone for someone else. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Saruta. That was beautiful. So much stuff happening as well. If anybody has a question for Saruta, now's your chance to ask it. You can just raise your hand. Maybe while we're thinking of our questions, because I do have one for you. You talked a little bit about how you have issues with young people not knowing or not caring enough to take action. What are some things that you've done to try to get some of your peers interested in what's going on? Because like tree planting probably takes a lot of volunteers. Like, how do you get people excited about that stuff?
So like mainly most of the people here, I feel that everybody around the world, it's not that they don't care, it's that they don't know. So when you try to teach them about it, that this is something that's happening. So right now in my city, there's extreme temperatures. So the next week that comes about, it's going to go to 49 degrees, which is the highest I've experienced in our city.
Right.
So when people around me see that kind of a change, they're often like, oh my God, why is this happening? That did not happen last year. So that's when I take the opportunity to tell them about the climate change and what's happening to our diversity. And when they know about it, they're obviously very interested in like, what can I do to like solve this, or what can I do from my part, since they know that I've also done something, and they've seen people online as well, like CGE posts on social media as well. Most of them know about that as well. So they're like, wow, what can I do on my part as well? So when you tell them about what's wrong, they'll obviously, and they're very going to be interested in what's next to do that. So that's what I wanted to say.
That's so awesome. It's like young people do want to take action if they're educated in what that action could be. I think that's totally true. Well, congratulations very much on all of the amazing work that you're doing with your school. It's I think the cool thing about ENN is being able to see those very, very different realities in different countries. And helping that build that global understanding of biodiversity loss. Like when I see the amount of pollution in waterways in India, that's very shocking for me as a Canadian, because we have quite pristine surface water here in Canada. So it really makes me think about the amount of waste that I have here, because I know that a lot of that waste from North America does end up getting moved over to Asia. So at least for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people joining, I think it's really, really interesting to be able to see those differences. And I just want to say too, just looking at the global temperature trends, I hope that you are staying cool, and I hope that your friends are staying cool. The temperature in India right now is at all-time records. So stay cool, everyone, and please stay safe. Welcome back, everyone. I think our breakout rooms are just closing. Hello, Sarah. How was your breakout room?
Oh, it's so good. I heard an amazing presentation from here in Alberta, from Canada, and then our friends in India. I missed the other ones, but I know that there was a lot of people in my room, so we might have to redistribute some bodies last time, because we want everyone to get a chance to share. And if that means that you don't have a presentation because someone else on your team does, that's okay. You're welcome to just introduce yourself and talk like we had said, because I think it's so great to hear from everyone around the world in this amazing time. All right, I'm gonna reshare again. I just have to find my tab. There we go. All right, so I hope maybe we could put one in the chat. I'm jumping in here, and I told people I wouldn't. I'm always doing things I shouldn't do to break rules. In the chat, I'd love in the next couple of minutes while we're talking, if you could say like, what was one thing that you heard in your breakout room that really was impactful for you? Maybe it was an action that another school was taking or a concern. Like I came into the main room and they were talking about how the heat in India is at an all-time high. And that is something that I'm going to check into later. So maybe like an action project you heard or like a hope or a fear or something that was impactful in your breakout room. So
funny, Sarah. I was literally about to say the exact same thing. I want to hear about all your breakout rooms. Yes.
That's the thing. I go to a breakout room and then I wish I was in all the breakout rooms. I just always want to be in the know. Alrighty, what's next? Rebecca, I think I'm turning this section over to you.
Hey, yeah, awesome. So just to give you guys an idea of where we're going to be moving to next, and maybe as I chat about this, Sarah, you can feel free to find the Padlet link and share it in the chat as well. Probably will get lost in all of the interesting things we're about to hear about the breakout rooms. But we have created this awesome online classroom for you guys all to join. Those of you that were in our projects last year are aware of Padlet. Some of you, it might be new. It's such a cool space where you can do our education activities and learn a little bit about global biodiversity conservation. But you can also share, and you can share with videos and pictures and files. It's a really cool way for you guys to be able to engage with each other asynchronously, because we can't always do these meetings. So when you get on there, you'll notice there's kind of an announcement page at the top. You'll see our friends, Daniel and Anish, are on there engaging with you guys and keeping everything organized. So you're going to see a little bit of stuff from them. If we can go to the next slide. The very first activity that you're going to see when you get on there is the introduction activity. And the cool thing about this activity is it's actually a map. So you can see a few of our students have already added their pins to our map. So we've got our friends down in Central and South America, our African friends. We've got some joining from India, Australia. I see a few Canadians on there. When you do your very first introduction video, you're going to tell us a little bit about where you live, about your favorite organisms, and just to kind of help get to know each other. But my challenge for you all is the classroom works really great when we all share, but it works even better when we collaborate. So every time you share something on the classroom, we want you to comment on 2 other posts. So go in and watch Lucia from Costa Rica and see what she has to say about her bees, right? Look at Frankie's post from Canada and learn about the cool art project she's doing. There's so many cool things that are happening, and it just takes a minute to watch the quick 2-minute video to learn about them. So that's my challenge. Every time you do an activity, we want comments on 2 other videos to get to know each other. All right, next slide. Oh, this is very exciting. So with our friends at WWF, we have been working hard for months to develop new guides for you guys to use. So there's 2 educator guides that are for your teachers, but there's also this really great action roadmap. So you are going to find this at the very top of our Padlet. This will work you through a little bit of background of why biodiversity matters, but then help you develop this action project. So if you were in your breakout rooms and you were like, wow, this greenhouse that Lacombe is building and the baby goats they have sounds crazy. How do I even get there? Well, there is a beautiful, easy step-by-step guide that you guys can all use to help develop your own action project made in partnership with the WWF. So that's all in the classroom. We're going to be sharing it throughout the year as well in case you guys lose track of anything on there. But I did want to announce it because we just launched it last week, so we're very excited about it. And the last thing that we're excited about on the Padlet is something called the Student Zone. So we are making our classroom even more engaging this year by making a space that's just for you. There's no work, there's no assignments, it shouldn't be difficult. This is kind of the fun area. You guys can do debates, you can ask questions, you can share climate news. We have a global playlist so you guys can add the music from your country onto this playlist. I use the global playlist every time I have to do like a lot of computer work. It's very fun to listen to music from different countries when you're studying because it's not distracting because you don't know what they're saying. A really fun spot. So we highly suggest you guys all get into that Student Zone, say hi to each other, get to know our interns as they're on there. We think it's going to be a really fun space. Oh yeah, we also have another kind of side project that's related to ENN. If you are interested in art, if you have a friend that's interested in art, if you have a teacher at your school that teaches an art class, you can have them submit art to this gallery for free. And the cool thing about our virtual gallery is we actually choose to print a selection of pieces that are submitted every year, and we bring them with us to the UN Climate Conference, or sorry, to the UN Biodiversity Conference.
Can I ask a question, by the way?
Yes.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
When we're sending the art, does the theme matters, or is it have to be something specific? Like, is it supposed to be about nature or anything else?
So as you submit it, there's actually 3 sections that you can submit to. It can either be a nature theme, a climate theme, or an equity theme. So it has to be in one of those areas, and you can select which theme you want to submit under. So it has to be one of those 3.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so if you already have a piece that you've done in the past where you're like, oh, this actually totally could be a nature piece, like you're welcome to submit that. But if you have something new you want to work on, also great.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to bring some pieces with us. So get your friends to submit some art. If you're not able to travel to COP this year, this is a way that you can get your voice at COP, and you can have the world leaders that come to COP will actually see your piece in person as they're going in to make those difficult decisions and discussions about nature. So a really cool way to get involved. Okay, and my final announcement, we have a very exciting new software that we're launching this year in relation to our summit. So if you are thinking of traveling to the Biodiversity Summit with us this fall, we are going to be hosting it on a site called Campsite. So this is a really cool website and app that you actually register for with your parents. So it does a couple things. Number one, you can see in the bottom corner, it has all of the forms that you need to fill in for me with the safety stuff and the agreements and blah, 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 all in one place, super easy for you guys to get. You won't forget anything. It also connects with your parents so that while we are in Armenia, we actually are able to reach your parents and tell them what's happening every day, send them updates every day, send them pictures every day. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be sending along kind of an information package very shortly with the steps on how you apply. So if you are a student, a youth, a teacher, or a chaperone that wants to come to Armenia, we will send you the link to actually get on our Campsite app and complete that application to come to Armenia with us. We're super excited about it. It seems like a really fun, really engaging app. I think you guys are really going to like it. And I think that's all of the information from me. I don't know. What's the next slide? That is all the information from me.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks so much. And we're so excited to see you and your voices and your ideas on that Padlet. This is how we tell each other's stories and we hear each other's stories. This is how we learn about what's going on in the world so we can make a difference in our communities. So make sure you're getting on that classroom, that global community and interacting there. It's the best way to really deepen your understanding of this topic and how it impacts all of us in different ways. So next, we're going to invite our friend Narek from Armenia to join us. Narek is a climate and environmental researcher and project manager dedicated to bridging computational systems with climate resilience. He's done his MS in Colombia and a BSc at Armenian University. And he is a diverse professional portfolio that includes his own monograph, The Overshoot, Life After 1.5 Degrees, a limit, and 1.5 degree limit, and founding Climopolis. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Climopolis, an innovative gamified environmental education initiative. So cool. So cool. So having previously served as the UN Youth and Child High-Level Climate Champion for Central Asia and Europe, Narek leverages his expertise in climate, informatics, geographical information systems, so like mapping, and policy strategy to design data-driven, actionable solutions. And his favorite animal is the Armenian, is it Mouflon? I'm going to get Nora to pronounce it because I think I did it poorly. But thank you so much for joining us. Are you in Armenia now? Where are you joining us from?
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm in Armenia. Greetings from Armenia, and I'm very happy to join everyone to see the diversity of yours and to see the energy that you bring to these discussions and the amazing projects that you have been carried out in your home countries. And personally, for someone who is very passionate about environmental science and climate action, to see how how dedicated you are to environmental and climate issues and preserving biodiversity in your countries just adds another motivation for me to work. Um, so um, let me begin with saying that I'm very thrilled to have the opportunity, and it's my honor to have the opportunity to welcome you to COP17 in Armenia, in Yerevan. And uh, as I said, as already introduced, I do climate action, I do climate science, environmental science, and I'm a young person and I know the power of youth voices, and I confidently say that you are our global nature champions. And this day, when we celebrate the International Global Biodiversity Day, it's our day. We celebrate ourselves, we celebrate you and your amazing work. So, welcome to COP17, and a special hello to you for from oceans to continents. So, for the next slides, I have a small question for you. Actually, I would like to ask you to express how you are feeling today and share one positive moment of today using only emojis in the chat. It will be very interesting to see how was your day. And actually, I have encoded my day with emojis. Perfect. So I love to see how many smiles are there, some nature, biodiversity, trees, sun, and I'm very happy to see how what positive moments you have experienced today. And I hope that during this meeting with everyone and making new international friends, we would add just more and more happy feelings to your today's social battery. So moving forward, you can still write everything in the chat. So actually what we will do during the COP17. So as you know, it's a very huge meeting where people from all over the world figure out how to save the nature, how to conserve the biodiversity in this case. And the theme of today, this year's meeting, is taking action for nature. So we are looking for a real ways to protect, to help our animals, plants thrive, and our ecosystems to live and survive. Also, the triple planetary crisis that we live in. I mean, climate crisis, biodiversity loss, and pollution. And all of us as young people, our ideas, our voices, everything, every single thing, every single thought, even if it is crazy and impossible, matters and should be part of the discussions during the table. And I'm very happy to see how engaged you are. And I hope that in Armenia you will also have the chance to raise your voices, to participate in discussions, to speak up, and actually to join the youth declarations that would be there in different kinds of workshops, to be able to express how you feel about taking actions to make our earth healthy. So I'm so excited to be here, to be able to welcome you and to tell a little bit about my country, Armenia and Yerevan, a city that you will visit. So let me just say that Armenia is one of the oldest countries in the world, and Yerevan, that you are actually going to visit for the COP17, is a very old city, older than Rome, and it's very beautiful, rocky mountains, ancient temples, incredibly rich nature, monasteries, and biodiversity. More importantly, we have a very rich biodiversity, and it's very important. It's a biodiversity hotspot, and it's very important when you will be here, and we will be discussing biodiversity and the environmental action. We will be surrounded a very beautiful and some rare plants and animals, fungi, different kinds of creatures that are just that will just make our journey amazing and unforgettable. So moving forward, there are some more things to do, of course, when you visit to Yerevan. Besides the COP talks and different kinds of workshops, I want you to promise me that you will try our Armenian traditional flatbread, lavash, and also there are some delicious sweet dried fruits and dried breads, dried lavash actually, which are dried fruits and the dried apricots, plums, and actually we are going to visit during fall, so actually you will manage to also taste some Armenian fruits and also take the taste Armenian biodiversity. Why not? So if you want to find some beautiful handcrafts, you can always visit to Vernissage Market. It will be near the way, in the center. So I will actually later explain where to get that. And then also when you will walk around the city, have a look at the buildings. You will notice that some of them are pink. Actually, Armenia is called a pink city, and the reason is that it is built with a very unique stone, which has a pink color, and we call it tuf. And Armenia is a pink city, so hopefully you will enjoy also the views, not only the green infrastructure, but also some of the pink one, not the gray ones. So going forward, coming more specifically about the COP, basically the COP has two main zones. The blue zone, which is the official zone when the overall world leaders, policymakers, scientists, everyone basically gathers there to have adult talks, to have negotiations, to agree or sign some documents, agreements on biodiversity conservation. And this is called the Blue Zone. And the Blue Zone will be in Meridian Expo Center. It's a very beautiful place and actually very beautiful building. And not that far from there will be the green zone where all the youth organizations, very cool workshops, very cool movie screenings, different kinds of nature, green technology, alternative energy, fun in alternative activities, everything will be concentrated in the green zone. And actually you will find also the entertainment, networking places, and you will be able to relax after having the overwhelming or very tough sessions on the biodiversity conservation. From there, they are not that far from each other, but when you decide to walk, you have to walk for 50 minutes. So there will be bus shuttles. So I'm more than sure you will be able to take that. So next, in the next slide, I want to share that to move from the zones to the zone, or as I said, you can use the bus shuttles, and on your way also you can climb the cascade complex. This is a very beautiful, actually very beautiful infrastructure, and from there you can have an amazing view of the Mount Ararat, and it's just a 15-minute walk from the Opera Theater, another amazing building that I think you want not to miss. And then from there you can actually get the Republic Square, which is kind of the heart of Yerevan. You can manage to watch the singing fountains there in the evenings, late evenings, have a walk, and also take amazing pictures with the view of Yerevan. Um, I would like to say not only the biodiversity is very rich and engaging, but also people are very warm in Armenia, and almost like everyone is looking forward to meet you, to greet you, and Armenia is one of the Armenia's values is hospitality, and we are actually eager and are passionate to meet, connect, and show you around. And I'm sure that you will never have a hard time to find any place you want. If you just ask a foreigner, they will help you, and they will guide you throughout the city. And of course, everything is working. You can also use some digital platforms to move around the city easily. It's quite walkable city. You can use also public transportation, metro, and I'm sure there will be also free shuttles around especially specifically for COP17 participants. And as I said, there will be some sessions which will be devoted to some drafting or publishing some youth declarations, some exhibitions, global friendship and networking sessions, and make sure you are involved. Everyone is waiting for your amazing input, and I'm more than sure after hearing all of your projects and all of your thoughts, I'm more than sure that every single thought that you will express has a very great value and needs to be encoded into the declaration. And finally, my last message is that you need to join us to make a difference, and have a wonderful time in Yerevan. I hope to see you around during October, and make sure to reach out, to connect, make some local friends, global friends, and let's work together to protect our beautiful Earth, because it's a shared home for everyone. And we are very happy for the opportunity to host you and to give the global stage to you. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thanks so much. That was such a great introduction to your country, and I'm super excited for the foods and the markets. And a pink city my children will be amazed, and I can't wait to be a part of this amazing conversation. Both not just the meeting itself and all the important decisions and conversations, but also to be embedded in such a historic location, and really thinking about how we have been on the earth for a long time, but how our actions are continuing to impact and how we can shift those. And so I think it's such a great location to have that conversation, but also to have the idea of not just academics or science, but also culture and all those wonderful things. So I'm really looking forward to Armenia. Thanks for that wonderful welcome message. So we are going to do a little closing here and then open our breakout rooms. And we know some of you will have to leave because it's that time of day, but we encourage that if you have some time to stay and hear some more stories, hear from more of our wonderful students, to do so. We'll leave our rooms open for a while. But this is a great quote from Greta. And I think as we leave the meeting today, when we need to step away, I want you to keep in mind, not just like, what does biodiversity look like in my community? And what did I hear about biodiversity in other communities today? But what are actions I can take in my community? Because as Greta says here, that hope doesn't come from us waiting to see other people fix a problem. Hope comes from when we think about how we can fix a problem and then bring others into that, inspire others, or make others feel accountable, or however we do that, inspire people through art. There are many different ways to bring hope into the conversation, but rarely does it involve sitting back and watching other people. It really is about, how is this important to you and what can you do to make change? So I'm excited to see what you guys do next. I'm excited to see you guys on the classroom, to hear your music that you upload, to see your debates and conversation. I'm super jazzed that so many of our friends from WWF were able to join today, from IUCN, from UNCBD and UNEP. I want to give a special shout out to all of our guests, and I hope that in your rooms you were able to meet some of these important decision makers and NGO leaders and the like. Thank you so much to our friends at WWF Armenia. I know Hasmek is here in the room and she is leading the charge for those communities and schools. So we're super excited to work with you, all of your Armenian team, as we head towards COP17. So keep your eyes on the classroom. There will be a writing retreat there, and we'll have a sign-up form there. And that's how you get your voice at COP17. Not everyone, there'll be a selection, there'll be a competition, all that sort of stuff. But even if you can't attend, you can come and write the declaration statement that they will take to COP, and your voice can be in it. And we'll have a survey, and there's so much going on. You don't want to lose track. It's always changing on our classroom. So we look forward to seeing how you contribute and what you have to say. So thank you, everyone. We're going to open up with the breakout rooms. Any last instructions, Rebecca, as they head into their rooms?
No, that's it. That's all. If you have to head out, it was great having you. If you want to stay for one more breakout room, we will keep the rooms open. I made new ones, so pick a new room, and it was so great to connect with everyone today.
Maybe we do another like cheer.
Another little cheer.
Yes, another little cheer. Why
You want to do one more? Do you guys remember? Hands up for habitat. Okay.
All right.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hands up for
Hands
habitat.
up for habitat.
Amazing. All right, we will see you in your breakout rooms and on the Padlet. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day ahead.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you all. Thank you all. Bye.
Have a great
Bye.
day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Now, if you're interested in joining a breakout room, it looks like green has the most people. So I'm going to concentrate people in green.
Okay, Sarah and Rebecca, even I have to leave now. We'll have our meeting tomorrow.
Perfect.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for
Bye,
coming.
Annapurna. Nice to see you.
Yeah, same here. Bye-bye.